back, everybody. It's your pal Orange Hat here to bring you another video. Screwed up again. It seems that Gina Carano has responded to the reports on HBO's Troll Army. How many lives were ruined because of Twitter bots canceling them? So I did the video earlier today on how the CEO has apologized for doing it. However, she does have some good points in it, so let's get into it. This is from Bounding Into Comics. Shout out to you, boys and girls. In continuing to take a stand against Hollywood's shameless hypocrisy, the former Mandalorian actress Gina Carano has pointed to recent reports that HBO used a number of fake Twitter profiles to harass their critics, as yet further proof that the entertainment industry is absolutely no friend to those who challenge their narratives. World of HBO's social media sock puppeting was first raised to the public on November 1st, courtesy of the Rolling Stones' Cheyenne Roundtree, performing a review of the text messages set to be submitted by former HBO staff Soli Tamori in support of his ongoing wrongful termination lawsuit against HBO leadership and members of the Idols cast and crew. Roundtree found that HBO CEO Casey Bloys regularly discussed using what he described as a secret army of fake Twitter accounts to harass critics of their network. Notably, one of his favorite weapons to deploy against his targets was that of identity politics, often raising accusations of bigotry, knowing full well the damage the ideology's destructive rhetoric could do if picked up by the right online mob. And yes, folks, there have been people celebrities and such, who have gone after people to basically send their mob of followers after a person who doesn't agree with them. Brie Larson did this a while back when people were calling her out for her stupidity. And so did, I do believe, one of the people from Disney Lucasfilm. It's like, y'all know what to do. And then they all just freaking bullied this person right offline, you know? Sending a freaking mob after somebody. I mean, I've had it done to me myself recently. Not gonna name names, but yeah, I know what it's like to have it done myself. But anyway, in one message purportedly sent by Boys, after finding himself incised by the New York Times chief critic James Poniewozik, I'm sorry if I mispronounced that name, and the staff TV critic Mike Hale's displeasure with the female-centric historical steampunk series The Nevers, the Bloys told HBO senior VP drama programming Kathleen McCaffrey that maybe our friend needs to say what a shock it is that two middle-aged white men, he and Times TV critic Mike Hale, are shitting on a show about women. And they ended up doing that. I mean, right here. Notably, the exact message would later be sent to Poniewozik via one of the Troll Army many accounts. This is one notably claimed to have been made by Tamori himself, under the guise of Kelly Shepard. And the person says, The Nevers so far feels like watching a show that someone has mysteriously deleted 25% of the scenes from. The term for those deleted scenes is The Nevers. And so, Kelly Shepard, how shocking that two middle-aged white men, you and Hale, are shitting on a show about women. So yeah, though HBO initially declined to comment on select exchanges between programmers and errant tweets, a subsequent presentation of HBO's company headquarters would see Bloys admitting to having engaged in this juvenile behavior. For those of you who know me, you know that I am a programming executive, very, very passionate about the shows that we have decided to do. Per recap, or said Bloys, not Ploys, but Bloys, provided a brief recap by Variety. And the people who do them and the people who work on them, I wanted the shows to be great. I wanted people to love them. I want you all to love them. It is very important to me what you all think of the shows. When you think about that and then think of 2020 and 2021, I'm working from home and doing an unhealthy amount of scrolling through Twitter, and I come up with a very, very dumb idea to vent my frustration. Obviously, 6 tweets over a year and a half is not very effective, but I do apologize to the people who were mentioned in the leak email texts. Obviously, nobody wants to be part of a story that they have nothing to do with. Drawing his apology to a close, Blois ultimately told attendees, but also, as many of you know, I have progressed over the past couple of years to using DMs, so now when I take an issue with something in a review, or take issue with something I see, many of you are gracious enough to engage me back or in a back and forth, and I think that is probably a much healthier way to go about this. But we'll talk more about that, and you guys can ask me anything you want in the Q&A. I just wanted to put that out there. So following the exposure of troll accounts, the story, particularly abounding in the comic's own coverage of it, came to the attention of the aforementioned Gina Carano. No stranger to such Twitter mobs and harassment herself, Carano proceeded to question, do you think this behavior of creating bots was exclusive to HBO Max, or that many other major studios do this as well? In 2016, Bob Iger and Disney was basically inches away from buying Twitter, but pulled out of the deal at the last minute, saying they did a little more research and said this about Twitter users. We, at that point, estimated with some of Twitter's help that a substantial portion, not a majority, were not real. So a good chunk of Twitter at the time was nothing but fake bot accounts set to go after people if they disagreed with a narrative or a certain narrative, folks. What do you think of the substantial portion of fake users grew to from 2016 before Elon Musk took over in 2022? How big did the bot armies get? Who were the bot armies created by, and to do what? Why buy Twitter and deal with that headache when you can create armies of bots and control the narrative for so much, or for much less money and less energy? It does your promoting for you without making it look like you are promoting yourself. Look, it's popular on all these accounts, strangely liked by a bunch of accounts with no names. It must be good. But what if it was used for something much more sinister? These damn critical YouTubers have too many followers. They're gaining traction. Let's censor them. On top of sending in the fake bot armies, just enough to get the yes men and useful idiots on board and rolling. Boy, she's not holding back. That leads to firing a person who thinks differently because they can't control their voice, need a reason to fire her. Get this hashtag trending. Say she said something anti-Semitic when she isn't at all. Twist her words, and hey, as long as it's in the headlines, nobody will ask any questions. It must be true. I actually told them in an emails over the phone about these bot armies and how they started a negative narrative, and then the young kids would join in, not realizing they were being manipulated, and then websites and small news jump on board to be cool with the kids. Before you know it, you're trending and Hollywood media devours it. I told them I believed that this was what was happening to me. A manipulated mob being used every day to spread propaganda to protect the most corrupt. They did not need to buy Twitter. They just needed to buy the narrative. Why does everyone just laugh off the fact that when the suits do something wrong, it's, oh, how silly of those silly little harmless suits. Instead of suits being forced to grovel and correct the wrong they do, just like they demand so many others to do, it's not like they don't know how to properly it's not like they know how to apologize. They wrote the playbook on fake apologies. They've literally destroyed careers, livelihoods, and get sympathy pieces written on them, while those whose lives got destroyed for just having an opinion that was before its time or made a mistake and hurt feelings get destroyed. This action of bot armies is actually a much bigger offense than people are realizing. How many lives were ruined because of Twitter bots canceling them? How many are in defamation lawsuits? You need to have evidence of intent to do harm. Defamation lawsuits are very tricky, especially when you're going up against someone with endless amounts of cash. I would say sending in bot armies to go after people they don't agree with is much more, or with more than qualifies as intent to do harm. And I believe a jury would agree. Could get very interesting if ex or current employees came forward with more evidence. Aren't you all sick of the abuse of power? Or you could sell your soul, and still not end up in the 1% this benefits. And who wants to be in the 1% anyway when it means betraying humanity and selling your soul? Don't pass this social credit score BS on to the next generation. Artists throughout history are the best when they are not in lockstep. It's what we love about them. Independent creators get busy and don't be compromised once you've climbed to the top. Artists at the top, take your leashes off. I completely agree with her because I have seen bigger YouTubers get even bigger when they started out small, and they've completely sacrificed their ethics and moral values just to get the clicks. And it really is sad when you see that sort of thing, because humility is such an important thing nowadays, folks. And Gina Carano is absolutely correct, because if you sell your soul for the clicks, sometimes it may not even pay off. That is why I will always continue climbing this mountain slowly. I'm not going to freaking go on to humongous channels and say, please show me out to your followers so I can get them to follow me as well. That's hollow. And honestly, it causes a problem, especially if you grow too fast and then let it go to your head. And congratulations, you're just another YouTuber who is a hateful echo chamber. And that's basically what has happened to a lot of YouTubers that I have paid attention to over the years. And it really is sad. I mean, there's a few exceptions who are still humble, don't get me wrong, and I still pay attention to those ones, but other ones, I've stopped paying attention to them because, well, they've let it go to their heads. Anyway, sharing an article from Fox recapping the story, Carano then recalled how in 2016, Bob Iger, oh yeah, I already covered all this. This is what she has said in that thing. Let's see here. So, yep, concluding with a call to arms. So yeah, this is all the stuff that she is, or that I read from the tweet itself. But yeah, Gina Carano is completely in the right, calling out Hollywood's hypocrisy for excoriating her for doing nothing, essentially, for having an opinion. And I think that these fools out there really do need to be held accountable. Trying to cancel somebody simply because they have a different opinion is wrong. If you are advocating for this kind of behavior, well, honestly, maybe you need to take a step back and search your soul. Or however much of a soul you have left. Because simply having a different opinion is what has made social discourse a great thing. It allows for new ideas, compromises for better situations. It is one of the bedrocks of our foundation of society. Having a civil discourse to allow for things to become better and have a more real progressive attitude can lead to a lot better things down the road. Unfortunately, people would rather just cancel you if you have a different opinion and censor you, which is very regressive, because we have seen historical figures, very tyrannical figures, do the same thing. And that is where Gina Carano is coming from, because she has witnessed this sort of stuff happen to her when Disney fired her for all these heinous accusations that none were true, and they wanted to shame her. Again, I still reiterate, they would publicly release that thing that they wanted her to do on a Zoom call with like 40 LGBTQ members. Chances are Disney would have had that somehow publicly leaked, and she would have been even more embarrassed and more ridiculed. I'm glad she didn't do that because, honestly, she saw what was going to happen and she made sure it didn't. Anyway, folks, great job to Gina Carano for stepping up against this. Or this is a titan she's going up against, and it is a powerful one. But you know what? With the right following and the right words, you can bring a titan down. Anyway, thank you so much for tuning in, folks. You all know the drill. Like, comment, subscribe, share, all that jazz. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. What do you think of Gina Carano taking on Hollywood's hypocrisy? Do you agree with it? Or do you think that she's just doing it for clout? As a few others I have heard about are claiming. I don't think she's doing it for clout because she has really nothing to gain from this. But yeah. Let me know all your thoughts down in the comment section below, folks. This has been Orange Hat. Y'all have a wonderful day. Stay humble.